Have you been toiling in mid-management and think you're ready for a promotion or a raise, but you're not quite sure when or how to position yourself to ask for what you want? I'm Cheryl Grace, and you might want to join me every second and fourth Sunday of each month as I help my rising star mentee climb up the next rung of the career ladder on Live from the Pink Couch. Meet Mailee. Mailee's been working for the last 3 years for a notable nonprofit organization where she's currently the Senior Director of Communications and Marketing. Now, throughout her journey, she's always focused on refining her talents while learning new capabilities and skills along the way. And until now, Mailee's always been really clear about her path forward on what her next title is going to be. But now that she's at a more senior level role, there are less of these opportunities available. And she recognizes the importance of needing to focus on priorities that are going to help her create a next level opportunity in her current organization, or maybe think about working someplace else. Mailee has more than 16 years of work experience with major brands, so there's no reason she shouldn't be a VP at this stage of her career, but I think she's been playing small because she's comfortable there. Mailee's pink elephant goal is really fuzzy to me. She says that she wants to be in a position where I've identified and received leadership alignment of a plan to ensure that I'm promoted to a vice president by July 1, 2021.
Hi, my name is Mailee Garcia. I am 38 years old. I am a communications and marketing professional, and I've been doing this line of work for about 16 years. I am joining this wonderful group of women today as the rising star. For me, I'm hoping to learn from this experience what I need to do to reach my next audacious goal and what that looks like, some of the steps to help me achieve it along the way. Right now, I'm a part of a really great organization that I believe in deeply, but I'm always wondering what's next on my level and what's next in my career. And so I'm really looking forward to learning more from this group and growing through this experience.
So now we've got Mailee. Mailee, tell us about yourself.
I am a communicator, and I've been in this sector for a while. I've been in corporate, and now I'm in nonprofit, and I've always really felt drawn to bring my talents to a role that allows me to impact the world. I've reached a level in my career where I'm, thinking about what's next, what my next big audacious goal is, and I'm just looking for some insight and some guidance on how I might take those steps or ask for the right things to really allow me to be a do-gooder with resources.
So you like social responsibility, corporate, sustainability, that type of thing?
Community affairs, engagement, just really being able to have a role that impacts. And right now I'm really focused on communications and marketing, and we do a fair share of that. But what are the other elements that I could bring my talents to help me at the end of my career to say I've done what I wanted to do?
Okay. So what do you want to be when you grow up, Mailee?
A do-gooder, but with resources and whatever that looks like, whether it's resources in the office or resources with staff or resources in my title and my compensation. But I want to do good.
Okay, so one of the challenges about a pink elephant is making sure that it's smart-based. Right? And we've talked about that, all of us. So smart base is it needs to be strategic. It needs to be measurable, right? It needs to be attainable, realistic, and time-based. So to be a do-gooder, how do you know when you've reached that? How's that measurable?
How's that measurable? I mean, I'm making my way there. I think by transitioning from corporate to nonprofit got me in that space of building out my skills, so I understand sort of what the environment looks like. I think measurable. When will I be able to measure and say that I've achieved it? Perhaps having that as part of my job scope, having the engagement piece, or having some corporate social responsibility as part of my communication, or marrying that with my communication skills. I think, looking at new titles or things that encompass that.
Absolutely. So if I were you, I would say I want to be a vice president of community affairs by XYZ date. That's measurable. You're doing good, right? It gives you something that you can say whether or not you have or have not achieved it by a set date. And when you set dates, you work yourself backwards from that date. So if you say you want to be promoted to a VP in your current company or your current nonprofit organization by 2021, that's a year. So what has to happen in that year? How do you communicate that to your current manager? How do you share that you're ready for that? Cheryl's pink couch tip. Time your initial raise request to coincide with your budget planning for the upcoming fiscal year. This ensures that no one can tell you there's no money in the budget for your raise. You've worked for some major corporations and nonprofits, and you've been doing this for 16 years.
Yeah.
Girl, it's time for you to be a VP. So I suspect the reason you're not a VP yet is because you're playing small and you're not allowing yourself to put yourself out there. So I would suggest that in order to be perceived as a VP, you start thinking as a VP. And one of the things you said in your intake, on your intake form, was that you manage people. How big is your team?
8.
You got 8 people on your team, and yet you still feel like you're in the weeds doing things. So I need you to step back and learn how to delegate. Find a number 2 person on your team that you are confident can help you do the things that keep you in the weeds, and assign them those weeds, right? And then I need you to block off on your calendar every day.
That's the hard part.
If your boss said, I have a meeting for you, Mailee, that I need you to come in, and from 9 to 10, is it hard for you to do that?
No.
It can't be hard for you to find time for you. So set aside 1 hour during business hours.
A day?
A day.
Okay.
A day. Set that time aside. And what I want you to do is I want you to start thinking about projects that you can envision doing for the brand that isn't being done right now, and working just on that. One of the ways you can do that, for example, is to look at what someone at another organization is doing. So it's research, right? So what do you see someone doing in community affairs at Boys and Girls Clubs? I'm just going to throw, right? What do you see them doing? Is there any aspect of that that you can pull from that might work with your organization?
Right.
So pull together a process or an initiative that has community-based, whatever it is that you're trying to do to show that you need to be community affairs-based. Pull together an entire initiative from concept and budget implications, the number of people, the verticals in the organization that it might cross, and then I need you to present it to your manager. Now, you're not going to necessarily do that in 2 weeks.
Right.
But what you can do in 2 weeks is to step back and start taking that time. You got to own your time. You have to own your time. So if you're going to cheat at this, I would suggest you cheat by taking that hour. If you're not going to take it out during business hours because you think you can't, but you can, right? Then take it out some other part of your day, but spend 1 hour just on this. 1 hour on looking at other corporations or nonprofit organizations that have community affairs vice presidents.
Yeah.
What are their requirements? What are they doing? Right? Who's hiring those roles? And even though you say you love being where you are, sometimes to get where you want to go, you got to leave and come back. So you need to consider the fact that if your organization isn't ready for a VP of community affairs, somebody else out there is. Those jobs aren't, invisible. They're there.
All right.
How are you're looking at me skeptically. So.
I know. I'm excited. I mean, all these things, they sound great, and I'm excited to do them. I'm thinking a little bit about the practicality of me carving out the hour. That's going to require the discipline that I feel like sometimes is the hardest. Is how do you take care of yourself and your own career needs when you feel like you've got a million balls in the air. So that's kind of for me, like the biggest thing I'm going to be trying to wrestle.
That's why I want you to find a number 2 person.
Yeah.
Who do you trust on your team? Like when you're out sick, who do you say, hey, everybody, is there anybody on your team that are you ever out sick? No. You're still out sick. No.
Yes and no. But I think I need to lean more into that.
Lean into a person. Identify a person and start carving out an hour. Okay? And that means literally physically block it out on your calendar so no one can come in and push an invitation on your calendar, or just pop in your door, like close your door, or if you have to go into a conference room, do that.
Okay.
But also, I need you to start looking online at companies that are actually hiring community affairs VPs.
Okay.
They're out there. You've got a strong enough resume. If I can name all the companies that you've worked for, girl, you can get this done in 6 months or less.
Check out the full Live from the Pink Couch web series and keep up with all 5 mentees' progress on PowerfulPenny.com. This has been a Powerful Penny LLC Pink Elephant production.